It's inspired by the 50th and 30th memorial anniversaries of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This international event also honors their vision, along with Cesar Chavez, for an empowered, nonviolent world.
I've been involved in this for several years and have created lots of programs. A lot of the music that I wrote prior to even knowing about this program supported the life and work of my heroes, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama. There are many, many, many empowered people that have been a positive force for change in the world. What I want to share today is my personal work and hopefully to inspire your personal path to be the change that we want to see in this world. Because the more I study these great, inspiring people, the more I recognize that they had to get there first. They had to get there inside first. And it's really easy to think that we can all go out in the world and just do stuff. But if we're not anchored, it isn't going to work. And it's taken me a long time to embrace that. But now that I get it, it's inspired a lot of inner work for myself personally.
If I was a judge, I'd want justice for all, so that every man and woman could stand proud and tall. My talents are too few to help so many so much, but I'd still make a difference if I reach out and touch one heart at a time. One little step, the mountain will climb. There's no end to what we can start. One heart at a time.
Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Is that a great thought? An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. What a wise and peaceful man he was. The common thread that seems to connect so many of our enlightened leaders is their ability to find and remain in that peaceful place, no matter what chaos, hatred, prejudice surrounded them. If we can learn, I mean, has anyone in here ever raised a teenager? Anybody had a parent with Alzheimer's? It's so hard sometimes to find and hold on to that space. But it's imperative for us to shift consciousness, to shift the whole trajectory that we're on. And it's up to each of us. As my friend Jimmy James Page wrote that last song that we just did, One Heart at a Time. And I loved that song the first time I heard it, and I wanted to record it because it so spoke to me that I don't have to be Mother Teresa. I don't have to be the Dalai Lama or Martin Luther King, but I can do my little part in the world to make it better. We can't give from an empty well. We have to work to keep ourselves filled up. And that can be in meditation, it can be coming to church on Sunday, it can be taking classes, it can be hugging a tree, it can be swimming. All these things, taking a walk. So it's finding what that we can do individually to be that one little drop of hope in an ocean of chaos or an ocean of upset. What we can do as individuals. And I'm not here to tell you how to do it. I'm going to share a little bit about how I do it. Writing that chant is part of how I do it. I write musical affirmations that remind me who I am, that I have everything inside of me. I just have to tap into that well. And I have to remind myself often that I need to refill that well.
Marianne Williamson said, "We receive his peace, and when we ask him for it, we keep his peace by extending it to others. Those are the keys, and there are no others."
Another 12-hour day, working as a seamstress in Montgomery. She climbed aboard a bus. There was nobody sitting there when she took that seat. She said, "I'm not getting up. revolution. She wasn't trying to be a problem, just part of the solution. She was one drop of water in an ocean of hope, one voice of reason that finally spoke. If we're ever gonna get along, the peace is our desire. We're never gonna get there, fighting fire with the fire. She was one drop of water.
Example of truly embodying a belief or a practice is the Amish people. How many of you remember in 2006 when a milk truck driver backed his truck up and took 10 kids hostage and shot them? People remember that? Do you remember what the Amish people did? It didn't get anywhere near as much press as it should have. They did not blame anyone. They did not file a lawsuit. They did not sue anybody. What they did is they went to the family of the killer, and one of the Amish men who was directly involved and lost someone in his family held the father of the killer and comforted him for over an hour. Talk about truly embodying your belief system. How many of us would have the capacity to put aside our own grief and our own possible wanting to seek revenge? No revenge. And what's interesting is in our culture, pacifism or taking what I consider the high moral ground to forgiveness, which is so much harder to get to than anger, a lot of the time for me personally. It's considered weakness to not take revenge. What if we changed our thinking on that? What if it became considered a much more powerful action to seek peace, to find forgiveness? The day that we moved her in was probably, will go down in history, I hope, as the worst experience of my life, on one level. And on another level, it was very empowering for me. And what happened was when we moved her back, she unraveled. She called us every name in the book. She cried, she pleaded, she wanted us to call her parents to come pick her up. It was the most heart-wrenching thing I have ever been through. And I remember consciously kneeling by her wheelchair. She had been fully ambulatory before this happened. Now she can't walk because her head won't let her. I never lost it. I never yelled back. I just sat there and I was with her through all of it, trying to calm her and reassure her. And I knew at the time that I was doing okay. The next day when I came in, the handyman, Bob, who we all know and love, caught me in the parking lot and he said, "You're the best daughter I've ever seen. You were awesome yesterday." And I said, "What?" All I remembered was crying the whole way home and feeling so badly that there was nothing I could do to comfort her. And he said, "Carrie, she called you every name in the book. I have never heard anyone get torn a new one the way your mother did to you." And he said, "You never lost it. You never wavered from being reassuring and comforting." What a lesson. I mean, I love my mom. That was excruciating to have her say the things that she said. He left the room and he's the rock. It was my turn. I've been gone for 4 days in LA. But anyway, this is what I've learned. And I can only attribute it to the inner work that I've done. Because nobody told me, "Oh, your mom's going to go off on you someday when she's not in her right mind." But I learned to keep looking for what was left, for reaching for what was left and hanging on to that. And then knowing that there's only love here. No matter what this looks like, there is only love here. And even if she can't see it, I have to. So I have to bear witness for that. So I'd like to close my talk. I'd like to thank you again very much for having us here. It's been wonderful. Thank you for letting me share.
And Martin Luther King, at the center of nonviolence, stands the principle of love.